Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out here for you. So we're going to be talking about the United States in this video. And apparently we've got word from this gentleman here on the screen. This is Pentagon spokesman Major General Patrick Ryder confirming as of today that it looks like Russia had launched a counter space weapon into low orbit last week. Now, it looks like this just happened on May 16th. There's video footage online as well that I was trying to locate, but unfortunately I couldn't find it, showcasing this rocket going into space. And I covered this story, I want to say about maybe 3 months ago, okay, that we were getting word from the United States government that Russia was preparing to deploy what they called counter space weapons or satellite killers. What they were going to do is deploy these weapons into space, and they can target U.S. satellites and destroy them. I believe they'd use some sort of rockets or missiles that would be launched from these, and they could destroy U.S. satellites. So at the time, about 3 months ago, roughly, there was lots of talk about this in the government, and the Speaker of the House, I think it was Mike Johnson at the time, he was coming out and saying that there was no immediate threat behind this, and that there was lots of panic that was starting to build up regarding this story, and it was immediately shut down by Congress. They were like, don't worry about it, there's no imminent threat, everything is fine. Now we've got word that on May 16th, just about 1 week ago, Russia has officially launched this potential space weapon into orbit, okay, into low orbit of the Earth. And they could target U.S. satellites. So what would happen if U.S. satellites got taken out? Well, it would cause a lot of problems. Think about the U.S. military. They'd be completely blind. Okay, they use satellites for communication, for radars, all kinds of different things. They need that type of communications to be online for them, for the whole military to even operate. So this could essentially blind the United States if something were to happen. And then if you think where we're at right now, look at what's going on in Ukraine, look at what I've been reporting over the past few months, and then look at what Russia's doing right now. As of yesterday, I reported that Russia is doing tactical nuclear weapons drills near the border of Ukraine. Okay, they're preparing to go to war with NATO right now. They're not preparing to use these nuclear tactical nukes, on Ukraine. They're preparing to use them against NATO fighters. Okay, so this is really big, and the timing of this is very interesting because we're seeing a major inflection point with what's going on in the war in Ukraine, and there was that major offensive on Kharkiv recently that I've been talking a lot about as well, and it doesn't seem to be quite going the way that the Russians maybe expected it to go. So it's I don't know, I'm not sure what we're coming to, but it definitely seems like something big may be coming here very soon. So let's talk some more about this. I've got an article here on ABC News. Pentagon says Russia likely launched counter space weapon into low Earth orbit last week. It's now in the same orbit as U.S. government satellites, the Pentagon said. So it says here, United States has assessed that Russia launched what is likely a counter space weapon last week that's now in the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite. Pentagon spokesman Major General Patrick Ryder confirmed Tuesday. What I'm tracking here is on May 16th, as you highlighted, Russia launched a satellite into low Earth orbit that we assess is likely a counter space weapon, presumably capable of attacking other satellites in low Earth orbit. Ryder said when questioned by ABC News about the information, which was made public earlier Tuesday by Robert Wood, Deputy U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Russia deployed this new counter space weapon into the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite, Ryder continued, and so assessments further indicate characteristics resembling previously deployed counter space payloads from 2019 and 2022. So something I want to note here regarding this information real quick, something that I reported as well regarding this topic several months ago when this information first came out that Russia was planning to do this. I noted there that the United States was also preparing to defend themselves from some sort of attack on U.S. satellites if this were to happen. So I'm not sure, we don't have that information yet, and maybe the U.S. won't want to talk about that. Maybe they won't want to make that publicly known. But that is something that I did report several months back talking about this, that the United States was preparing defensive capabilities to prevent this from happening. Okay, so Not sure if we have that technology, or maybe something has been deployed into space to protect the satellites up there. But this has been a known issue for several months now, and this could happen. And one day the satellites could just be knocked out, and then I guess we'll know why, at least according to this information. So obviously that's something that we'll continue to monitor. Ryder added. Certainly, we would say that we have a responsibility to be ready to protect and defend the space domain and ensure continuous and uninterrupted support to the joint and combined force, and will continue to balance the need to protect our interests in space with our desire to preserve a stable and sustainable space environment. When asked if the Russian counterspace weapon posed a threat to the U.S. satellite, Ryder responded, well, it's a counterspace weapon in the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite. So what does that mean? I mean, he's basically repeating what he originally said, but he's stating that obviously, yes, it is a major threat to U.S. satellites, with this thing being in the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite. So while there are requirements for making advanced air and sea notifications for space launches, Ryder wouldn't discuss whether the U.S. knew was in advance that the launch contained a particular type of counterspace weapon. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov called the Pentagon statements an information leak on Wednesday. I don't think that we should respond to any information leak from Washington. The Russia space program is developing as planned. Launches of spacecraft for various purposes, including devices that solve the problem of strengthening our defense capability. This is also not news, he said. He told journalists in Moscow. So yeah, definitely some pretty big news here. And I was kind of wondering what was going to happen with this story, because like I said, I covered this months back, and we weren't really hearing anything until now. It took, what was that, about 3, maybe 4 months until we finally heard something regarding the story. But yeah, looks like Russia has launched a counter space weapon into low orbit last week. So if anything happens with satellites or connectivity with phones or anything like that, imagine that. It's just going to affect so many different devices. Maybe not so much internet, but satellites could definitely get knocked out, which could affect phones, and just basically anything that uses satellite technology is going to be greatly impacted. And the scariest part here is obviously the military. The United States military, they need satellite technology to operate, okay? And it would definitely affect majority of their functions, and completely blind the United States if anything were to happen. Let's say if a war broke out or something like that, this may be something that Russia would attempt to do to knock out and potentially blind the United States, their military, if a war were to begin, and that would give Russia a significant advantage. So obviously, what we're continuing to see all over the world here, not just with Russia, but with other countries, even China and North Korea. I mean, it's very close right now, probably more than it ever has been in a very long time, to something major breaking out, okay? Not just war, but maybe nuclear war, and just major conflict throughout the entire world with so many different countries, okay? We're not just talking Russia and United States. We're talking many Western countries, China, North Korea. There's so many players here that are involved in all this escalation, and it could really get crazy here at any moment. So that's why I wanted to share this information with you and get this out there, because this is definitely a major threat. And if satellites were to go down, it would cause big problems throughout the world, okay? And economic issues, many different things. And I think if satellites were to go down, this would be the beginning of something major, okay? This wouldn't just be a satellite getting taken out and then, oh, okay, well, it's time to rebuild one. No, I don't think it would be as easy as that. This would be major conflict coming soon after. So be prepared for this, and I just want you to know and be aware, so that way you can make preparations for your own self and your family if anything were to happen. And that's going to be it for this update. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.